curfew could go into effect in Tucson tonight as COVID-19 cases surge in Arizona. What you need to know coming up.
Prop 208 was just certified and a legal challenge is already underway. I'm Stephanie Rosales and I'll explain why some feel this new law funding education is unconstitutional.
And on Break It Down, how Hispanic culture is appropriated in food, music, and media.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Megan Marples.
And I'm Alex Gall. Thanks for joining us. As family and friends come together over the holiday weekend, the amount of COVID-19 cases in Arizona rose dramatically. This morning, health officials reported 10,322 new coronavirus cases, with 48 additional deaths from over the long holiday weekend. Maricopa County has more than 200,000 of the almost 340,000 cases in our state. Counties that had fewer cases and deaths in the past are also now seeing numbers increase. Until this weekend, Greenlee County had experienced only 2 deaths due to COVID-19. But now the county has reported 3 deaths and almost 240 cases. 3 deaths might not seem noteworthy when you hear about other counties like Maricopa, but it is important to note that Greenlee County hadn't had a COVID-related death since July, according to their health department's Facebook page.
Pima County also saw its highest daily number of coronavirus cases today, with 944 new positive tests and 4 new deaths. These numbers, coupled with the diminishing space in local hospitals, have forced Tucson Mayor Regina Romero to call for a citywide curfew. Cronkite News reporter Dylan McKim has more on what this could mean. Dylan?
Pima County health officials had requested that individuals follow a voluntary curfew back on November 23rd as cases started to spike. Since then, case numbers have not only remained high, but local hospital capacity has climbed to 90%. So Mayor Romero has called a special meeting with City Council tonight to vote on a proposed citywide curfew that would last through a majority of December. If the mayor's proclamation is ratified, the curfew would go into effect starting tonight, December 1st, and would run all the way until December 22nd, right before Christmas. The curfew would start every night at 8 and end at 5 the next morning. There will be exceptions for first responders and medical personnel. Tucson police would have the authority to hand out warnings and citations to people who are breaking curfew. Mayor Romero spoke about the necessity for this curfew in a news conference with reporters yesterday. Take a listen.
We are also hoping that this curfew, that this step will help prevent a stay-at-home order or a lockdown. And so we're hoping that this mitigation step will help all of us from having to take much more drastic measures.
The mayor and city council will also discuss economic relief plans to help small businesses and individuals that would be affected by this curfew. Now, a couple of times throughout the news conference, Mayor Romero said she believes a statewide approach is much better than individual cities taking their own action. She also said she's called Governor Doug Ducey's office multiple times this past weekend to ask for a statewide curfew, but the governor declined to speak with her. We must note that at the time of recording this newscast, no vote on the issue had been taken. In the studio, Dylan McKim, Cronkite News.
With the surge of COVID-19 cases in the valley, the city of Phoenix is considering canceling roughly 30 upcoming sports tournaments between now and the end of February. Youth tournaments include roughly 4,000 teams, with 1,900 traveling to Arizona to compete. Mayor Kate Gallego is facing criticism for allowing 500 teams to play in a soccer tournament over Thanksgiving weekend. Many of the teams came from out of state. The city council is expected to decide on Wednesday whether to ban any future tournaments, allow only in-state teams to play, or move forward with the tournaments as scheduled. Local soccer clubs insist they have been taking the necessary steps to allow kids to compete safely and hope play will continue.
If the city council decides that, these tournaments can go on, but we're not going to allow any in-state team or out-of-state teams, I guess that's better than not allowing play at all and closing down the fields. I would rather them do that than close down the field.
Scottsdale Unified School District announced 3 of its largest high schools would be going remote for the remainder of the semester. The announcement was made yesterday. The 3 schools are Arcadia High School, Chaparral High School, and Desert Mountain High School. However, the district did say that special education classes would resume in person on those campuses. The schools closed due to a lack of staff amid COVID-19 cases rising throughout the country.
It's a fight against Prop 208 as two Valley business owners have filed a lawsuit to prevent a tax hike in high-income earners. Stephanie Rosales shares with us what this lawsuit entails.
Prop 208 was passed in the 2020 general election with more than 50% of the votes. It imposes an additional 3.5% income tax increase on individuals making $250,000 or more in order to increase public education funding in Arizona. The lawsuit challenges the legality of Prop 208, claiming the new law gives funds to schools with no oversight, and that violates the Arizona Constitution, which gives the legislature the sole power to tax and spend state funds. The CEO and founder of My Sister's Closet and signer and retired Maricopa County Superior Court Judge John Buttrick says it's not a fight against the policy.
Both of them feel that this Proposition 208, which recently passed, is unconstitutional, even though they both express a desire and a hope to see more education funding and support education funding. They understand that this proposition is problematic due to its constitutional issues.
Rose Law Group, who will be representing My Sister's Closet in court, believes a raise in taxes takes power away from the legislature to oversee and disperse these funds. Many organizations who strongly support Prop 208 believe it will help with teacher shortages and create a stronger educational environment. They're confident that the legal challenge won't go very far.
The Arizona voters chose this, and our state constitution honors the will of the voters. And so we're confident that the court system will also honor the will of the voters, that is exactly what our constitution asks them to do.
Voters and taxpayers and residents of Arizona, as always, I would encourage them to either vote in a new legislature that would grant them the education funding that they think is appropriate, or to lobby, call, and email their current legislators and tell them, hey, we need you guys to vote for education funding.
According to the Department of Revenue, an estimated $800 million will be going directly to schools for the first year. But after the first year, the funding can change as the economy starts to increase or decrease. Stephanie Rosales, Cronkite News.
My Sister's Closet also argues that Prop 208 will harm the economy by increasing tax rates in a short amount of time. However, opponents say a stronger workforce will create a stronger economy.
Arizona has officially certified the 2020 general election vote for President-elect Joe Biden. Secretary of State Katie Hobbs certified the election results yesterday, awarding the state's 11 electoral votes to the Biden-Harris ticket. This is the first time since 1996 that Arizona has voted for a Democratic candidate for president. As required by state law, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey and Attorney General Mark Brnovich, along with Arizona Supreme Court Chief Justice Robert Brutinel, witnessed the certification. Hobbs says the election process was the most secure in recent history, quote, despite unfounded claims to the contrary. Governor Ducey echoed Hobbs's comments and praised the integrity of Arizona's election system.
Needless to say, President Trump wasn't pleased with Arizona certifying its electoral votes for Biden, so he took to social media to lash out against Governor Ducey. The president quote tweeted a tweet that says, "Governor Ducey has betrayed the people of Arizona." Governor Ducey also commented about the election on Twitter, stating, "We've been doing early voting since 1992. Arizona didn't explore or experiment this year. We didn't cancel Election Day voting as some pushed for. We aren't going to disenfranchise any voter."
President Trump might not like it, but there's another indicator in Washington that his political fortunes have shifted. And no amount of lawsuits and tweeting is likely to bring a halt to this change, as Cronkite News reporter Tina Giuliano tells us from our Washington bureau.
President Donald Trump had a good run, but it's time for him to move on and make room for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the gift shop.
It sold well. I mean, Trump was a high commodity.
Supporters could get the president's image on everything from pens to life-size cutouts to President Trump finger puppets. But now those puppets are moving down a shelf in gift shops across Washington, D.C., making room for the new administration's merch. Every time a new president gets elected, The old merchandise is cleared off the shelf, making room for the new.
When Trump became president, we was bombarded with his stuff. Now we're starting to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris stuff in.
So shortly after November 3rd, even as ballots were still being counted, the president's sweatshirts, mugs, and posters were placed on clearance.
So far, I want to say a couple days after the prior president, everything went on sale. Some things were just completely half off because we had to get them out of the store.
As the Biden and Harris merchandise started to roll in.
And then after that, about a week and a half later, we started getting in more merch so that we have all of the t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, keychains, everything is now Biden Harris.
Almost as much Harris as Biden, says Morse, who has been with the store for 15 years. He says there is an unusual number of mugs bearing the mug of the vice president-elect.
I mean, we've had other vice presidents, but not like her, where we got merchandise specifically made for her. You know, that's pretty rare.
Supporters are not the only ones snapping up swag. Some opponents do too.
There was more so like, oh, we're going to get this hat and then write something on it, you know, to like for protests and stuff like that.
While protests don't hurt the business, coronavirus has, emptying what Morse says was once a crowded store.
We haven't been back to normal since March.
Back when Trump and his finger puppets were riding high,
they flew off. I would put it like that. They flew off the shelves pretty well.
In Washington, Tina Giuliano, Cronkite News.
Now, Trump merchandise may be moving off the shelves for now, but his name's not disappearing from Washington. There's the Trump National Golf Course in nearby Virginia and the Trump International Hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue, which the next president will parade past after his inauguration in January.
From outer space to Congress, former astronaut Mark Kelly will be sworn in for a different kind of mission tomorrow. He'll now represent Arizona in the U.S. Senate. The Democrat defeated Republican Senator Martha McSally by more than 78,000 votes. Kelly will also be taking office more than a month ahead of other senators who were elected in November. The reason being, Kelly was chosen in a special election to finish the final Senate term of the late John McCain.
Coming up next on Cronkite News, Pedestrian Scrambles. That's the real name for some of the new intersections here in the Valley. We'll explain when we come back.
Plus, it's Giving Tuesday. We take a look at how COVID-19 has impacted the global movement next.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Everyone has secrets. Are you protecting someone?
I have no choice.
You do have a choice. You're looking at him.
That's amazing. We could be standing on top of a T-Rex right now.
Women demanded new space and pushed the boundaries of what being a lady means.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station, sign in, and start streaming today.
Here we go. Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
The downtown Phoenix area has two new pedestrian intersections called Pedestrian Scrambles. Cronkite News reporter Melissa Zaremba explains how these new intersections work.
These new lines painted on the street don't look like your usual crosswalk. Is a pedestrian scramble.
Honestly, I didn't know what they were. I thought they were just like mini crosswalk blocks in the middle of the street.
Pedestrian scrambles allow people to cross the street in any direction, even diagonally.
Pedestrian scramble works best when there are a lot of people walking.
So this allows people that are walking to spend less time in the street because they can just go directly to where they need to go.
City of Phoenix transportation officials want drivers to stay alert when they see these new crosswalk designs and to expect pedestrians to come from any direction. These pedestrian scrambles is a visual reminder that allows pedestrians to safely cross the street, going in any direction. And traffic signals stop all directions of vehicle traffic at once.
The vehicle traffic doesn't have to back up as much because they're not waiting for people for so long. It gets all the pedestrian traffic done at once, and then vehicles can just go on through.
There are 2 pedestrian scrambles located in downtown Phoenix by the ASU campus on Taylor Street. One at 1st Street and the other at 3rd Street.
They're really convenient. It's always been kind of like a pain to have to cross one way and then have to cross another way just to get to your destination.
There are no plans right now to expand pedestrian scrambles in other parts of the city, but street officials are always looking for ways to improve safety. Melissa Zaremba, Cronkite News.
Finally tonight, it's Giving Tuesday. In downtown Phoenix, Roosevelt Row thrives off of in-person events like this to support the art community and small businesses. But this year, nonprofits all around the world are being directly impacted by the pandemic.
From First Friday to our Roosevelt Row Academy to, how we engage with artists and how we engage with local residents and businesses is all face-to-face. That's what community is built on, is personal interactions. And so having to transition to a more virtual platform in order to achieve similar goals has definitely been a challenge, not only for us, but, for the artists that we serve.
One way Roosevelt Row is continuing to serve local artists is with a new mural project called Uncontained. Your donation to the project could help fund Indigenous and Latinx artists looking to share and create their story through art.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.